3, 2, 1. Yeah, cut it there. Hello, good evening. Let's see. Let me get the shared and then we'll start. Get you over here, Kim Jarrouj, Realtor. Hi guys, welcome. This is our first time home buyers seminar. I have some powerhouses in the room. I've got a crew for you guys tonight, that's for sure. You are going to have some fantastic information from the top guys in the industry. I'm telling you, these guys are who we deal with on the daily. So they are who you guys have been seeing me sharing and posting about. I've got Chris Eller with Gateway Mortgage. I have Larry with West Virginia Home Inspections, Chuck Boggs, Boggs and Associates, Daniele Ellis with Ellis Insurance Agency, and Marc Slotnick with Bailey and Slotnick. Okay, let me get this over. For some reason, I am struggling. And then people are messaging me on my new listing. Popping in here. All right. You guys see it all? Are you guys able to see online?
Internet's so slow.
Oh, great. That's not what we need. So share some hearts and give us some thumbs up. Let us know you're here. Hi, Carrie. Your wife is watching. You're in trouble.
Uh-oh.
You are in trouble. She's probably like, why are you not home?
All
right.
Make her money.
That's important. Money is important. See, for some reason, it's not letting me share to my personal page. That's going to be a problem. Oh, that is frustrating. It should let me, but I don't know. It's not. Hopefully, you guys can all share, and that will help. If you guys tag me in it, it will go to my timeline, too. All right. I'll try to figure that out when I'm not talking. So I am Kim Jarrouj, Realtor with eXp Realty in West Virginia. I know not everybody's going to be local watching tonight, so we are in West Virginia, and everything that I'm sharing with you is going to apply here, but more than likely going to apply in your state as well, but check your state laws. All right. So first thing you are going to want to do, you first time home buyers out there, you are going to want to meet with a real estate professional like myself. Realtors are going to guide you in the right direction. So we're going to be the ones to be basically first point of contact, and we are going to be the ones that can help refer you to the lenders, the home inspectors, the appraisers, the insurance agents, and the closing attorneys. So you want to start by reaching out to a real estate professional. Number 2, you're going to definitely want to get pre-approved. I don't like to work with anybody that's not pre-approved, and the reason being is because I would end up wasting sellers' time by showing buyers homes that end up not being able to be approved for the loan in the first place. So that is a struggle. So we make sure that we have pre-approved buyers before wasting not even wasting, but not wanting to waste the seller's time. It's very, very important to go ahead and take that first step, meet with a lender, and get pre-approved. Now, there's a difference between pre-qual and pre-approval, and I'm going to turn everything over to Chris Eller right now with Gateway Mortgage, and he is going to share with you guys from the lending side what you need to do to get ready to buy your first home. Chris, jump in here, babe.
I can't really get in.
There you go.
Hello, how are you all today? Thanks, Kim, for having us with this little first-time home buyer get-together. It should give you all some good knowledge. Kim's right. After the main thing is to get prepared for your home buying experience and being pre-qualified. What we like to do is try to see you come to us a couple months in advance. Prepare for this. Because some of the things I'm going to go over with you basically are just what we look for in your application. So, you want to get out there, and the first thing really is what you want to do is get out there and, get a copy of your credit report. Look at your credit report, because some main things you want to do is make sure your credit card debts are paid down. You want to get your credit paid right, make sure there's no surprises that is going to be on there and stuff that you could take care of ahead of time. So once we do that and get your credit, everything right with your credit. Make sure your scores are up as high as possible. The next thing we're going to do is look at your job history. You want to make sure you've got a 2-year history with your jobs, and go into that. Your down payment. We've got programs for first-time home buyers anywhere from 0 down to 3.5% programs. That's a good thing. You want to come in to make sure what program you're going to qualify for. Make sure what type of house payment you're looking for. Some of those are the main things that, will help you get through this process a lot faster. There's different types of ways you can use your down payment. You can get gift funds, income, from your income is savings. But most of your things when you're going to come and see us is we're just going to make sure you're in line and ready to go, so Kim can have that pre-approval.
Okay, and pre-approval, of course, is the important piece because once you are pre-approved, then we can start house shopping. And at that point, what I'm going to do as an agent, as a realtor, is reach out to you and have you fill out my buyer's questionnaire. Okay, my buyer's questionnaire is utilized to basically ask you guys the important questions. What type of house you want, where you want it to be, what school systems you need. Is there anything, let's say there's a handicap in the family or something that you will basically make a house need, special need for the house, you'll be able to get that. By me having this information from you, I can tailor and narrow down that search for you and help eliminate a lot of homes and keep this down to, rather than you looking at 15 houses, we're going to look at 7, let's say. So I can really narrow it down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the research. So I'm going to go to the listings that you give me as a list. Let's say I send you out 15 listings, you send me back 5. I'm going to take those 5 and I'm going to research the heck out of those 5. So we're going to the seller's disclosures, we're going online, we're going everywhere we possibly can to research that house, looking at maps and surveys, and trying to get you guys the best information on that house. Now, a lot of times I can eliminate a home from your list just by researching the property. When I do that, I might find that there's a structural issue. There may have been water in the basement. There may have been some sort of electrical problem. Maybe there was a fire previously, whatever. I'm going to be able to find that out and help you to eliminate those homes before you even go look at them. What I encourage all of you to do is once we have it narrowed down to so many houses to go see, is to do drive-bys. I really recommend that you do the drive-by. Take time to do that because that too is going to eliminate time on the seller side. So, we have such great sellers and they're always, more than willing to oblige because they want to sell their house, right? But the bottom line is they have to take their kids out. They have to take their pets out. They have to do all kinds of things to spruce up the house and get ready for a showing. So it's really key to go ahead and do the drive-by. Make sure you like the location. You're happy with the neighbors. You are not next to something that you don't like a dump. There are homes like that. You're not next to a trailer if you don't want to be by a trailer. You're not, right next to a school or an interstate and all of those things. So really important to take the time to do the drive-by. That too can eliminate some homes. So then we have a very small group of houses that probably suit your needs really well. And they're going to be homes that what I call qualify because we're not going in with already having water problems, structural problems, big issues that are going to cost a lot of money. So once you find a home, it is going to be time to negotiate on that home, and we're going to make an offer. When we make an offer, there is going to be a lot that goes into that, and that's something I definitely want to get with you on in person to discuss. I can go over a purchase contract with you, and we can actually go step by step through a purchase contract, and I can kind of show you what we're going to be doing when we actually place the offer. That's a lot for tonight and a lot to watch on Facebook, so we're not going to do that tonight. But the big key things are you want to know what, of course, price that you're going to offer, and I can help with that. I can help by shopping the comps in the area, figuring out, when I say comps, that's comparable properties. I know I say comps because it's my everyday, but it's not every day for you guys. So, comparable properties. That is going to help me to kind of figure out what price per square foot you should be paying based on other homes that have sold that could be similar to that property, or we can weigh out, well, this one has like my new listing today, a detached 44 by 28 garage that they've added on. Okay, how to apply value to that. So I can help you with all of that. So we will make an offer. Our offer is typically going to be contingent upon some things. One, lending. If you're going to get a loan, then you want it to be contingent upon you getting that loan. So we're going to make that a safe place for you to do that. We're going to put in the contract that you have to be able to get the loan, or you could get out of the contract. A home inspection, structural inspection, any inspections you want to have, that's an important time to write this in at the negotiation point. So when we offer, we typically are going to ask that the buyer has a home inspection paid for by the buyer. And I recommend that buyers always pay for their own inspections. And the reason being is because you want your inspectors, like Mr. Larry over here, to be working for you, not the seller. So the buyer should always pay for an inspection. I know on VA loans, they require the seller to pay for the termite inspection. That's okay, but you can still pay for your own home inspection. So that's key. That is key. Make sure you're paying for your own inspections. And then appraisal. We want the property to appraise for at least the price we're paying or greater. And if it's greater, that's amazing. That's equity for you right away. And then a termite inspection. That's super important. A termite inspection can, you can find some structural problems with termites. So that's key. I really recommend that all of my buyers have a termite inspection. Termite inspections, once again, are paid for by the buyer. But if there's an issue that arises, we can write in an amount that the seller pay up to a certain dollar amount to basically treat the property and take care of the issue. There's a lot of ways we can negotiate. So, talk to me individually and we can figure all of that out. I also write in typically that the buyer must be satisfied with all inspections. It's really important that the buyer is happy. Okay, we want a smooth transaction, so we want you to be happy. And so by writing in that you must be satisfied with the inspections, that means if anything pops up in the home inspection that, sends red flags or alarms off for you, it is time to potentially exit or negotiate with the seller. So that is as much as I want to go into on the offer point tonight. I will talk to you all, like I said, individually if any of you all have questions. Hey, I appreciate all of you guys joining. I see a lot of familiar faces popping up here. So please click share because this information will be getting out to everybody. And we would love to have more and more people be able to see this information and know about the buying process and be a little more educated in the process. And I think it's going to help a lot of people. So once we have made our offer, we're going to send that offer. Your realtor is going to send that offer to the seller and the selling agent, and they're going to review that offer, and they will decide whether to accept or counter us. If we get a counter offer, then we have the ability to come back and be able to counter back, or potentially accept that counter. So it will be a negotiating process going back and forth. And trust me, you guys, don't do it alone. You don't have to. As a buyer, in most cases, you are not going to pay anything to have representation. The seller pays the commission. So there's not a single reason why you should be doing this alone. Make sure you have somebody that knows what they're doing and goes through this on the daily and really can look out for your interests and protect you. Protection is key. So once we come to an agreement on the offer, we are now going to sign documents. So we're going to sign the contract. Both parties, buyer and seller, sign all of the documents. and then we are officially in contract, okay? In contract, that's when that sign goes on that says on, pending or under contract or whatever it says. Hey, hi, Julie. Thanks for sharing and liking. I appreciate it. So what happens is once you are in contract, the very first step for me is to send that contract to the lender. The lender can now begin the loan process and start looking towards an appraisal, ordering an appraisal. So they're going to start the process with that paperwork and go ahead and start getting any necessary documents from you. And then we are going to order the home inspection. Okay, so once you're in contract, the very next day, I really encourage my buyers to get on the phone and go ahead and schedule their home inspection. I always recommend 3. It's really important that you guys all have great inspectors, and I always try to put the best in front of you. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to put Larry Perkins here with us. He's joining us today. He's going to share with you guys everything to do with home inspection. And so basically, once you're in contract, you call and schedule the home inspection. Once you're in touch with Larry, he's going to schedule you, and then we're going to go from there. So here's Larry. This is Larry Perkins.
Thanks, Kim. So, like Kim said, I'm Larry Perkins with West Virginia Inspection Company. And so we do home inspections. We do other inspections also. We do radon testing, mold testing, load and die tests on septic systems. We can check for bacteria in water. So we do a lot more than just home inspections. But for this evening, this first-time home buyers, we're going to talk about home inspections. The main reason that I feel you should get a home inspection is because it gives you peace of mind, and it gives you the education to make a good decision on this purchase. Because for most of you, this is the largest purchase that you will have made in your life to this point. And you have to look at it as an investment. So to have a home inspection, it's protecting your investment. And it's to ensure that you're making the right decision. So the information that we're going to give you is just the condition that your home is currently in. And we're going to do that several ways. We're going to look at the grounds, the exterior, the interior, the roof, the basement and crawl space, the electrical, and the plumbing. So just a little bit about those items. The grounds is just simply your sidewalk, your driveway, the landscaping around your house. If the grade allows water to fall up against your foundation, it could cause problems. Or if there's any trees or shrubbery that could be causing any problems with your house, we'll call that out. The exterior is just your siding, your windows, your doors, your soffit, your gutters. We'll check your electrical coming into the home at this point. And we'll also look at the HVAC system, your air conditioner in the outside. And then we go on the inside, and we normally like to start at the highest point in the house, is in the attic. And in the attic, we want to look for any structural problems with your trusses or your rafters. We want to look at the ventilation, the insulation. We'll check to see if there's any mold-like substance, any pest infestations. And then we go down into the rooms. In the rooms, they're simple. We just check the windows, the doors, the outlets, the switches. We go into the bathrooms and check all the plumbing, run everything, make sure there's no leaks. And then we work ourselves down. And we start from the top and go down because water flows down. So we want to check to make sure there's not any leaks in the house. Once we get on the main floor and check all those rooms, we'll go into the kitchen. We check all your appliances to make sure they work properly. Then we go into the garage and check the garage out. We're mainly just looking for safety issues as far as like the firewall, make sure the door's fire protected, make sure that the auto reverse works on the garage door. Then the outlets in the garage, there's a thing called ground fault circuit interrupts. And those are outlets that you want around water sources on the exterior and in the garage. So we'll check those out. After we do that, then we go into the crawl space of the basement. We'll talk about the crawl space on this session. And it's the most important, probably the most important part of the house because it's where nobody wants to go. It's normally scary.
I don't want to go.
It's dark. It's confined. And that's where a lot of problems can occur because you have...
I'll be like, let's leave that to the home inspector.
You have moisture issues. You have mold. You have pests. You have wood-boring insects.
Snake skins.
Snake skins. You have a lot of different problems like
things.
that. And but we'll find all that for you. And after that, we'll go over the report with you. And what we do is, during our inspection, anytime we find something that's wrong, we'll take a picture of it. And on that picture, we give you 3 bits of information. 1 is what the problem is. 2, what professional can fix that problem. And 3, why they need to fix it. So for instance, let's say that there's an outlet next to a bathroom sink that should be ground fault protected and it's not. We would take a picture of it and we would say, this outlet's not properly ground fault protected. Recommend a qualified electrician evaluate and make repairs as needed for safety reasons. So that's the way the report would look throughout the entire thing. We sit down and go over the report with you, answer any of your questions, walk around the house, and educate you, not only on the safety concerns and anything that we might find on the house, but we'll also show you like things such as where to change your air filter, where to shut off your main water, your gas, things like that. And that way you feel more comfortable with the house. The other thing that is nice about getting a home inspection, and Kim touched on it, is repairs. She will help you decide who's going to take care of those repairs. And once you guys have decided who's going to do that, who's going to be responsible, and the repairs are made, you can bring us back out and we'll do what's called a compliance inspection, and we'll look at those repairs and make sure that they're done properly. And then the last thing that is really, I think, important about having a home inspection is if you're moving from out of state, and if you're just a younger couple and you're not familiar with plumbers, electricians, contractors, things of that nature, we can help you with that. And that's valuable to know somebody that you can trust to call up and get a job done if you need an electrical problem or a plumbing issue taken care of. And that's not just during your buying process. You're not a one-time client of ours and then you're gone. You can call us forever. I mean, we want you to be there for us, to refer people to us, and we want to be there for you if you need something. It could be a year or 2 down the road and you've got an issue with your house or something. Give us a call. Ask us a question, and we're here to answer those questions for you.
Can you give them an idea of cost and also about how long these inspections take and what they can expect to, whether they should be there the whole time? Should they come at the end?
The average cost is $400 for the inspection. They take about 2.5 to 3.5 hours. You can be there the entire time. You're more than welcome. We ultimately like for you to be there like the last hour. So if we started at 9 a.m., if you could be there at 11 a.m., that works out good for us because that gives us 2 hours of uninterrupted inspection time. Because what happens is if you're there at the beginning, small world syndromes will kick in. You're going to find out that I like hunting and you like hunting, or we like the same teams, or we don't like the same teams, or we know people that each other knows, and what should take a 2.5 hour to 3 hour inspection turns into a 3.5 to 4 hour inspection, which is fine with me, and it would be fine with you. But sometimes the house is occupied and the sellers have gone and they're giving us time to do the inspection. And if we tell them it takes 2.5 hours and we're 4.5 hours, that can cause some problems sometimes. But if you want to get in touch with us, You can reach us at 304-389-3934. And we would love to schedule an inspection with you.
Yay, thank you. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great information. So once that inspection is done, what's next? Well, that report is going to come back to the buyer. The buyer's going to get in touch with me or another agent. Why would you want another agent? Just me. And then what happens is I'm going to help guide you to what repairs we should ask that seller for. Now, typically, I think all of you know, every single house, even brand new construction, has issues. There's problems. And so we're not going to call out every single thing in that report. It's like a 40 to 50 page report. So that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to try to do is focus more on, one, what you care about, the items that you care most about, but the main components of the home. So you're looking at plumbing, electrical, roof, HVAC, things like that are really going to be costly repairs. You can fix the cosmetic things, right, on your own. But if it's a functionality of that house, it's pretty important that it is right when you move in. So those are the things we're going to focus on. And then, you know, some buyers are different. Some don't really care. They say, I'll deal with that. I'll put a new roof on. I'll do whatever. And that's okay. But if you have questions as to what you feel is appropriate to ask for, that's what I'm here for. I can guide you in that. And then at this point, if there's any other inspections that you feel you want to have, whether it be lead or radon, or maybe from the home inspection they have found something that looks like it could be a structural problem, this is the time to schedule those inspections. So you may want to order a structural inspection after your home inspection. And that, again, is something that the buyer should pay for. You want somebody working on your behalf. So that is something that we would discuss. The next step, if you are happy with the home inspection, we've negotiated, we've worked with the seller, we've come to an agreement. Let's say the seller's fixing X, Y, and Z, and maybe they've even reduced the price for you by $1,000 and you're happy. Now we're going to sign an addendum that basically states that you are happy with that home inspection. We're going to release that contingency in the contract, and now we're going to move on to the next step, which will be an appraisal. I don't like you to pay for an appraisal until we know that you have been satisfied with the home inspection, because there's no sense in throwing money away if you're going to walk away, right? So that is what we would do next, order the appraisal, and that is through the lender. Okay, I can help with, scheduling of the appraisal and all of that, but the person that orders it is going to be your lender. So Chris, who spoke earlier, would be the one who would order that appraisal if you were working with him, and then they send it out. And once an appraiser picks up the order, then it is in their hands. And Chuck is here to share with you guys what an appraiser does and everything about an appraisal. Chuck Boggs, Boggs and Associates, welcome.
Hey guys, hi, I'm Chuck Boggs with Boggs and Associates, and appreciate you having me here tonight, Kim, to hope shed some lights on what an appraiser does and the process that we use for the home buyers. First, just want to explain what an appraisal is. What we do is we come out, we look at a piece of property that you guys have negotiated a contract on, and we make sure that the value is there for which you negotiate and agreed on a price. How we do that is we inspect the home, the inside and outside. Usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour. We then find similar comparable properties that have sold within the previous year, within the neighborhood, or for more complex properties, we can extend distance. Main things that we look for at the houses is overall quality, condition, each amenity that the home has, bedroom count, bath count, type of flooring, exterior construction, interior features. If the home has been updated or remodeled recently, or if the mechanicals have been changed out, those are very important things to know that all affects the value of a piece of property. making sure that if you have an appraiser coming and getting all the information available to him at the time of the inspection will definitely expedite everything. The more information that we have, the better results we can get.
So if we have any sellers listening in tonight, is it a good idea to go ahead and put in updates and things like that and leave it out on the counter for you?
Absolutely. I mean, anytime, especially if the homeowner's not going to be home or somebody there, they can leave us a list of updates and when they were completed so that we can have that information. One thing, that we have some people mention is, they have some confusion between an appraiser and a home inspector. And as Larry talked to you earlier about the in-depth that they go to, we're two different types of people, of businesses. We're looking at the home for value. We're looking to make sure that it's safe and it's habitable, that there's not any major concerns. When you go with a government loan, FHA, VA, or USDA, we are going to inspect for codes, safety and health. Codes that we're looking for are GFIs, handrails, safety rails, smoke detectors, lead-based paint if the home is built prior to 78. Any type of utilities need to be on if it's a government loan. Those things, if they're not completed, we usually have to come back out for a compliance inspection, and that can slow down the whole process. If it's a conventional loan, they're not as stringent. We're just making sure that there's no major concerns like structural or mold. If we do find these issues, we always defer to a professional in that field for an inspection. So having that stuff done prior to an appraisal coming out is very helpful. Things to do to prepare yourself is for your buyers and sellers to prepare yourself for an appraisal. Make sure the home is clean and presentable. Make sure that we can get access to all the rooms. Make sure all repairs are complete at the time. If they aren't completed and they're being negotiated, having bids by contractors or the professionals in that field available for us so that we know what's going on. Again, having a list of updates. A survey is always helpful if you have a larger tract of land. It's always good to have a survey anyways, just so that there's no discrepancies on property boundaries and so forth. And then any other pertinent information that you think would be valuable for the appraiser for that home, particular piece of property. Lenders, yes, that's most of the where we get our business. We work for a lot of banks, but also for buyers with cash. We can come out and make sure that the what you're wanting to pay for and negotiate is worth it. So that's a very valuable asset, even if you don't have a bank, to make sure that you're not overpaying for a home.
Okay, and how long do appraisals typically take if there are some sellers listening?
Appraisal can take anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half. Generally, 45 minutes to an hour, just depending on if there's multiple structures, the size of the home, amenities, and so forth.
And at what point do you return the report to the bank?
It usually takes, an average of 2 to 3 days after inspection to get these back to the bank. And it could take even longer, just depending on the complexity of the report and the information that, we would need to complete our job.
Awesome. Thank you, Chuck.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so we are well on our way to home ownership. We are through the appraisal. Let's say we're through the appraisal because that value came in where we needed it to be. And if for any reason it didn't, that's something we would negotiate at that time. And that's why you want me. I can help reach out to that seller's agent and say, hey, listen, it came in $2,000 under what we negotiated. We'd like to have the seller meet that value. So that's something that can happen as well. So no worries at all. If the appraisal doesn't come in and you have a real estate professional, you can trust that you have the right person by your side and can help you get that accomplished. So now we're on to the next step, and that is looking at homeowners insurance. I got a beauty right here. This is Danielle. Dear sweet friend, look at this.
Good evening,
Switch
everybody.
over here. Can you see that?
Yeah, let me just pull my notes a little closer so I have everything together. Awesome.
All right.
Well, So this is an exciting part of the process for me. You guys have already been through the hard stuff. Then you're kind of onto the finish line, and I get to be part of the exciting time. So I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about what I do and the role that I play. First off, the difference between an independent insurance agent and a captive insurance agent. It is really important that you go through an insurance agent that has multiple companies, aka independent insurance agent, rather than one that has only one company. What that essentially means is that we can do the shopping for you. We can compare and contrast several different insurance carriers. They're all going to offer you different values on your home. They're going to offer you different savings and different home and auto bundling options. So shopping with an independent insurance agent rather than a captive one that only has one carrier gives you way more options and 25 to 30 times more likely to save that much money. Because that's so many carriers we have. So that's important. And then also, if ever there's a claim, homeowners claims are more rare than say auto claims, but if ever there is one, you want to have someone on your side who can give you proper advice about when to turn in a claim and walk you through that process. So we like to think of ourselves as your friends. And also, bundling your auto is an important thing that I will ask you when you're shopping for a home. The reason is because your lenders and your realtors would like to see your homeowner's insurance be as low as possible to get you cleared to close. So there's only a certain amount that is allocated to that in your loan process. So the less I can get your homeowner's insurance, the better for everyone, for you and for them. And bundling your auto also allows me to give you some very pertinent advice, such as, especially when you're a first-time home buyer, you may have state minimum limits on your auto because it's the same auto policy you've had since you were 16, 17, 18 years old. You haven't owned a home before, so why would you reevaluate? So I can't tell you how many times I am helping someone with their insurance and we're moving toward home ownership and they come in with state minimum limits. Brief talk on that. State minimum limits in West Virginia are very low. We are a poverty state. They are $25,000, $50,000, $25,000. So that's $25,000, $50,000 for bodily injury and then only $25,000 for property damage. If you damage someone else's auto in an auto accident more than $25,000 and you don't have cash in the bank, say an extra $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 to make them whole again, where do you think that money comes from? From your house. That's an asset that gains value and appreciates over time. So it's very important when you buy a house to reevaluate your auto insurance limits as well. I recommend no less than $100,000, $300,000 in bodily injury, which is 4 times the state minimum limits, and often maybe $100 more a year. Very little more, especially when you're bundling with your home. So we'll talk about that. So if you have an awesome realtor like Miss Kim, that's me. Yeah, that's her. Chances are she has, if we're on a team working together, chances are she's already sent me a copy of your listing when you say, yeah, I'll talk to Danielle about a homeowner's insurance quote. And what that means is I have all the information that you don't know about your house, like when the electric was last updated or when the roof was last put on or when it was built or how many square feet it is. You were looking at all of its beauty when you toured it, and I'm looking at the facts on the listing or the appraisal. So when I get one of those documents, I only need to ask you 3 things to give you a homeowner's quote. And that is your name, your birth date, and your social security number. That's it. And then the same for your spouse or your cohabitant if you're applying together. So that makes my job so easy and allows me to get your homeowner's quote back to you as quick as possible so that you're closer to that finish line. Another thing to consider is the price you're purchasing the house for versus the actual replacement cost. So every time I do an insurance quote, I am calculating what the replacement cost is of your home. Chances are it's going to be significantly more than the purchase price. So if you purchase your home for $200,000, it could be 30, 40% more the cost to build it back, which is what you want to actually insure the home for. You don't want to insure it for just the purchase price because it's going to cost more to repair your home or to build it back if it were a total loss than it would be to buy a home. So that is the value that we're looking at when we're estimating using your square footage, using your updates, etc., the cost to rebuild your home, that's the cost that I'll insure it for. And that is what your bank requires, your lender. If your house is damaged, that's an asset that they have a vested interest in. They want it to be repaired exactly the way it was before the claim happened. So replacement cost is important, and it's required by all banks. The lender, once you and I decide on an insurance carrier that's best for you, for home and auto, whatever it is, then your lender requires something called a declarations page. It's basically a copy of your policy, and it's about 3 or 4 pages long. It states what the replacement cost I insured it for is, what the deductible is. There's several different parts to your insurance, the liability, the contents coverage, all of those things that you and I have talked about and I've explained to you, and you know exactly what your insurance policy covers. The lender needs to see a snapshot of that, and they need to see their name listed at the bottom with your loan number. Because if your home ends up being a total loss, that burns or is destroyed in some way, your lender wants your loan paid off, and then you get the rest. So that's the process. That's why homeowners insurance is required in part of the loan, but I prefer to think of us more like a shared risk pool and friends rather than a necessary evil. So we'll get along better. I've been called a necessary evil. Like I don't get that. I'm a nice, friendly person.
No,
but
Danielle and evil don't go together.
Shared risk pool. We help each other. And then also at my office, all forms are electronic. So this is 2020. So when you decide on a home insurance carrier, we will send you all of your documents to sign via DocuSign, HelloSign. You can literally sign it on your smartphone. You're good to go. And then that allows me to get your declarations pages over to your lender same day. Everybody's happy. And then it's 3 or 4 days before you can close. Our goal at our agency is to have very fast customer service, very friendly and personable, and explain to you so you know exactly what your coverages mean, and then to get you very quickly onto closing. So we do not have any
And
delays.
we like more giveaways. I like the giveaways.
Yeah, and we do giveaways monthly for referrals and things like that.
Tell them where to
Choose
like your
one.
page so they can find you.
Check us out. It's on Facebook. We're Ellis Insurance Agency 1981. Our office phone number is 304-984-3004. And you can actually go on and get a quote right now if you want to shop your current homeowners or you're thinking about buying at theinsurelady.com and click get a quote. That's my blog if you have insurance questions.
Yeah, you guys got to go on there and like that page. She's always doing giveaways.
Yeah, for sure.
Want a gift
Thanks
card.
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. I told you all I had the powerhouses in here tonight. Great information. I mean, if you guys have never bought a house, first of all, this is phenomenal information to have. You got to know before you go. And if you have even owned a home and are getting ready to do a step up and move on to something else, you've got great people here, really great contacts to look for when you go to get a loan, you get an appraisal, home inspection, closing attorney, whatever, insurance. So we are moving right along in that transaction. And now that we have our insurance policy being worked on, while we're doing that, it is time to schedule our termite inspection. Now, the termite inspection is only going to be good for 30 days. So we don't want to order that too early, especially if you've written in your contract for a 45 to 60 day or beyond close. You really want to kind of wait, get through your home inspection, go ahead and start getting through that appraisal. If everything's looking good, you can go ahead and schedule that termite inspection. And once again, that's what I'm here for. I'll help guide you when it's time. I'm going to alert you. This is when we need to schedule that. I'm going to send you out some referrals, and at that point, you can choose who you want to go with, whether it's somebody you know or somebody I've sent you. You call and schedule that termite inspection. They're going to come out to the property, review it, decide whether or not there's an issue. If there's an issue, you will get a report back stating that, and that we need to now negotiate. So we're back into negotiations. So that's where you need your agent again. So I'm going to help you negotiate the repairs on the termite, whether it be a structural issue or whether it's just evidence of termites, what have you. At that point, we can ask the seller to put in a treatment system or fix the structural problem if there's a structural problem. And then we can get what's called a clear certificate, and that's what we need for closing. So once we get through that termite inspection, it's time to make sure that all of our documents in regards to our lender are in their hands. They have this going to underwriting, and underwriting may be contacting you for more documentation, more verification. I like to say they take everything but a blood sample, because it's pretty true. You have to be prepared. So it's very important to know before you go. You really have to have the documents that you need, whether it be taxes, letters from your landlord, whatever it is. We're going to get all of that in line and get it to the lender so that you guys have a smooth transaction. The next step, once we have all of our documents in and we start to get what's called the clear to close from our lender, then it is now time to start looking at a final walkthrough. I have a client getting ready to do one here on Thursday morning, and their closing is Friday. And I think that closing is with you. But no, on Thursday morning, we will be doing a final walkthrough. And I have a form that I like to give to my clients when we go through. And it gives you guys kind of a checklist of things to look for in the house. And this is your chance to give the house a once more with your eyes. Just look at everything. Make sure when the seller moved out, they didn't damage walls. They didn't break anything. Everything is as you saw it when you negotiated on that house. If it's not, this is the time to red flag that. And we want to reach out to that selling agent and say, look, X, Y, and Z needs done. Maybe they didn't clear out the crawl space of the attic. Maybe there was some things stored and they forgot. Who knows? There could be holes in the wall from them taking down a TV, pictures, whatever. Things you did not anticipate happening. So those are the time, or that is the time to negotiate those things. So final walkthrough. And then once we have final walkthrough, we come to closing day. And that is where we have Marc Slotnick with Bailey and Slotnick. And that is our favorite day. It's just our favorite day. It's a day to celebrate. We've been through the process. You can see this is a very long process. I don't know how many minutes we've been going, but as you can see, it's a timely process. We usually can do this in about 30 days if necessary. If it's cash, sometimes 2 weeks and under. Some loans are faster than others, just depending on what's going on. And then some are longer than others. So some could be 45 or 60 days. It really just depends on the loan, and I can help guide you with that just depending on what selection you make. But here we are at closing day, so I'm going to turn it over to Marc Slotnick, and he's going to give you guys a heads up on what happens at closing.
Move down a little bit. There we go. I'm Marc Slotnick. Thank you, Kim. And it's these wonderful realtors that bring everything to us and get it to a head. And I always say my favorite part of the whole process is the closing. I have a partner that always asks, why don't you have somebody else do that? Well, I'm not going to let anybody else do that, because my favorite part is seeing the buyer get their new house. The seller is happy they're selling their house. Everybody around the table is happy that we finally got to a conclusion. And Kim kind of led into my little Star Wars. I'm a fan of Star Wars, so I have to put some Star Wars information in here. So I always think of the process, and the process to me, and we always hope it's a short process. So it's like Clone Wars. It's a 22-minute comic, and it's done. And then sometimes it's the whole movie, sometimes it's a trilogy, and sometimes it gets out of hand, and we've got the trilogy of trilogies. But we try not to do that, and we're here to make sure that doesn't happen. At some point during the process, your lender is going to send me an order, and they're going to ask me to do a title search. And part of that process is for us to go to the record room, determine if there's any problems with title. We want you not only to have good title, but we want to know that when you go to sell your property, you have marketable title to sell it. So we're going to the record room, doing a title search, determining that your seller has good title, what liens they have, what needs to be paid off, and we take care of those items. If your seller's in a state, we need to determine who needs to sign the documents, and we'll converse with the realtors on that side, the listing realtors, as to what needs to be done. So we're trying to make sure we get to the closing table. We try to do our title searches as quick as we can so we can make sure that you get to the closing table timely without problems. Again, we're trying to help that so that you don't have a problem later on. Now, we use, in my office, attorneys through the process. So I have a paralegal that'll do my title searches, and then we have an attorney that then reviews the title searches and then makes contact with anybody that needs to be done. So once the title search is done, that gets passed on to someone else in my office, an assistant, that starts to review the things that we've said need to be taken care of, whether we need to get payoffs, whether we need to contact people that are out of state to sign deeds, and various items like that. At some point in time, your lender is going to say, okay, we're ready to close. And once that point comes up, we pull your file back out again, and we take a look and see, is there anything else left to do? We advise everybody all the last minute details that need to be done, and we begin the process of doing your closing disclosure with the lender. You've already received a preliminary, most likely from your lender at this point, and iron out what the final fees are. The week of closing, and I always sort of set these up for realtors in a manner, the week of closing, you want to make sure you know, number one, where are you closing at? You want to know what attorney is doing it, what office. Most of us have 2 to 3 offices, so whether you're closing in Charleston or you're closing in Tays Valley, make sure you know where you need to be. Also, you may need to bring money to closing. Know how to bring that money. Some attorneys want cashier's checks, some want wires. We don't want personal checks. So if it's for a large sum of money, we will frown upon a personal check. You'll show up at closing and you'll be running out of closing to try to get a cashier's check. We also really don't want cash. So if it's a large amount of money, we don't want to be counting $15,000 at the closing table. So please, in pennies. And she brings that up. I did actually have that occur where I had a borrower that was upset about something and decided he'd take it out on everybody at the closing, and he handed me his it was $8,000 in $1 bills. So that was not a fun experience. So we don't enjoy that. Also, if you are someone that wants to read documents, make sure to let somebody know ahead of time, because we can get that closing package to you before. You may have a closing package that has up to 90 documents in it, and we want you to be able to read that ahead of time, not feel rushed at closing. At closing, we will go through each document, but we're not going to read every document to you. We want you to feel comfortable, but if you're someone who wants to read, let everybody know you want to do that, and we'll be happy to supply that to you ahead of time. Another thing to know before closing is if your spouse is on the deed and you're thinking, well, he or she has something else to do that day, they don't need to be there. They do need to be there if they are on the deed. They will need to sign the deed of trust or mortgage, as we might call it. Make sure you check to see if they need to be there. The best idea is to go ahead and find out who the closing attorney is, call their office and ask them. They have the documents there to let you know who needs to be at closing. And I always say the key to who needs to be there, if your spouse is on the deed, they need to be at closing and arrange for them to be there. So closing day arrives. So the next thing is, what do you need on closing day? Bring your ID. We have to have an ID. We have to have you prove to us who you are. You know the realtors. You know the lender. We don't know who you are. And we have to have that document because we, number one, have to fill out a form for the lender. And I'm probably going to be notarizing documents, and we won't notarize a document unless we know who you are. Make sure you didn't forget your cashier's check. I've had people leave their cashier's checks at home, and they've had to run home and get them. So make sure you've got your ID and your cashier's check. So closing itself, again, that's the best part, and that's the part we all love. We sit down and we go over the documents. And documents, they can be up to, I did have a package that was 150 pages the other day, but they'll run anywhere from 10 to 15 pages up to about 50 pages. So it'll take a little bit of time, but generally a closing will last about 30 minutes, no more than 45 minutes. If it's lasting any longer, then I always say that there's a problem and we need to stop. And we need to start and figure out what to do from there. So plan about 30, 45 minutes. You'll get a chance to talk to the sellers, usually if they're there, find out where everything is in the house, and that's a good opportunity to get to know those people. There is one thing you'll be asked at closing, and that's on title insurance. Your lenders usually require what's called title insurance. Title insurance is a insurance policy, and it's a little different than what Danielle talked about. It's insuring the title to make sure there's no issues on title. We do a title search. Everything looks good to us as to what's in the record room. However, we can't ensure that there wasn't a forgery, there wasn't somebody just claiming the property, that the clerk didn't misindex something, and that's what that covers. So the lender requires that. It is optional for the buyer. And most times buyers tend to, in West Virginia, not purchase title insurance, and we will go over a document. We do have people purchase title insurance, particularly where there's foreclosures and various other certain areas that might be a little bit different. So you will be asked that at closing. You can always call the closing attorney and get information on title insurance and find out what it's about and what the cost will be. That kind of brings you through the closing. And now we finish the closing, and we can pop a bottle of champagne if we want.
Oh, we got it right here. It's closing day.
There we go.
Yes, we have it.
So, and every keys get handed over. We take pictures at the closing table because that's what we like to do now, and we're complete. So, like I said, please make sure to contact your closing attorney, find out what the process is. You can always contact my office. And again, it's Bailey and Slotnick. We have an office in Chase Park here, 30 Chase Park, and we're also downtown Charleston, 500 Virginia Street East, the United Bank Building. We have a website, WVClosing, at WVClosing.com, and then my email is Marc, M-A-R-C, at WVClosing.com, and check us out on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, Bailey & Slotnick, and we give tips out of every once in a while, so if you we don't post a whole lot, but you'll find some important things if you go through our history, things you might need to know at closing. And that takes us through.
One more thing. I know I get this question a lot. If I cannot be at closing and I'm out of state, how do we handle the paperwork?
Okay, so if you are a seller, it's more simple. If you're not at closing, we will email you the documents to sign, and we'll have you sign a power of attorney just in case there's any documents to be signed at closing. If you're a buyer, we have to get permission from the lender. So you need to talk to the lender. We'll prepare a power of attorney, and then that power of attorney will sign documents. So that power of attorney might be your spouse who's actually here while you're packing up wherever you're coming from, or maybe a friend of yours that's willing to do it. Do warn those people if they're going to be signing for you. They're going to be signing a lot of papers, and it's not a normal signature, and it does take a little bit of time to do that. It is doable. Again, for the buyer, we need to coordinate with the lender. They do have requirements for those powers of attorney.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So we did it. We're homeowners. Congratulations. You've bought your home. Now, like he said, it is time to take pictures. It's time to celebrate. It's time to give gifts. That's what I do. So that is such a special, special day. And let me just tell you, it does not stop there, at least not with my service. What happens after closing is if you've ordered some sort of warranty, I'm going to make sure that that gets paid for, and that you get the confirmation that you have that warranty. That warranty on the home is typically a year long, and that gives you the ability to call when something happens. If it's a covered item, can cover the house. I mean, you don't have to necessarily pay any major out-of-pocket expense. You pay a small deductible, and then somebody comes out and does the work for you. Beyond that, you move in, you need locks changed, you need carpets cleaned, you need painters, you need electricians, you need it all. You want to remodel your kitchen. Guess what? I'm your point of contact. I'm your point of contact for all of that. I love to keep in touch with my clients. My clients will tell you. I would be happy to share phone numbers because some of them are so kind to give out their phone number and allow my, people that are thinking of working with me, then they will allow them to call and to basically share their experience and how it went with me and why they would want to choose me. So feel free. If you think that you want to buy and you need an agent, you need somebody to guide you, I would love to be that person. My job is to make your buying and selling experience less stressful and help you achieve the best deal possible. The best deal possible. That's what we're going for. If you're selling, you want to make the most. If you're buying, you want to, spend the least. And my goal is to help you get there. I want to achieve your dreams. So if you have not been a part of any of my Tip Tuesdays, please join my Kim Jarrouj Realtor page, and you can follow me there on my business page. And every Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning, I do a Tip Tuesday and give you guys some real estate tips. And just so you know, if you don't know anything about me and you're watching this, I am an agent that has been in the business since August of 2009. I began with Great Expectations Realty. I became Rookie of the Year in 2010. I have been a multi-million-dollar producer from 2010 to the present. Last year, I achieved Leading Edge Society with Berkshire Hathaway because Berkshire Hathaway is a franchise that Great Expectations merged with. And basically, I won highest growth last year, and also achieved that Leading Edge Society, which is a very, very, I was part of a very small percentage nationwide with Berkshire Hathaway to achieve some volume goals. So now I have joined with EXP Realty. I joined in February of 2019. And the reason I did that is because I was really looking for a company that had 10 years down the road in real estate in mind. And this company has it, you guys. I am so blown away by the tools I have at my fingertips. It is crazy. I can build a website for my listings in seconds. I have so many tools to utilize as far as from the buying experience and the selling experience. I can pull leads in seconds. If you want leads, I can literally go on, make a few clicks, and put up a property, and a few clicks later, I have leads coming in like crazy. So there is so many benefits to the company that I'm with now, and so much growth to be had. So much growth. Some of you guys have been following my page. Some of those that know me and know I'm very close to Icon. I'm under 5 transactions away. I've actually put several of them in contract. I'm probably like 2 away now. But those all have to close by February 28th, which is the problem. It's very, very hard to get everything to close on time. It doesn't always happen. I will work hard for it, but there's a lot of moving parts in these transactions, as you can see, because you just listened to this for the last, 45 minutes. So just so you know, I'm here to answer all of your questions. If you have any questions for any of our speakers, please reach out to me, reach out to them, or post in the comments, and we'll be happy to get your questions answered. And if you are renting, it is time to stop the madness. If you're paying, let's say, $1,000 a month right now in rent, times 12 months, $12,000, $12,000 you just paid for that landlord's mortgage. It is time to put it into a house for you, and it is time to build some equity. So let's talk. You guys, thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. I'm so happy and thankful that my guests here took time out on a nighttime on a weekday away from their families to come and join me. If you guys will do me a huge favor, please share this video. Share this video and let's get it out to as many people as possible so that others can learn about the buying process here in West Virginia and beyond. Thanks so much. Kim Jarrouj Realty, your home is where my heart is.